Thank you so much. Welcome to School Talk, a show brought to you by the Office of Community Engagement at Albemarle County Schools. My name is Gloria Rockhold, and I'm the manager for the Office of Community Engagement. Just to give you a little background information of what the office does, is that we're all about connecting with families to help children be successful in our school system. It's about helping our schools relate to you, the family members, the community, and also to relate to our schools. It's very important to have that relationship partnership going. Through the Office of Community Engagement, we seek to create conversations with you that result in working together to take action helping all children. It's about getting everyone to share ideas, make plans, and together help those plans come to life. And that's what makes the Office of Community Engagement so much fun, I have to say. And one of the things that I wanted to also say is, like, what are the values of Albemarle County Schools? Our basic values are excellence, young people, the community, and respect. So there are several topics that we're going to talk about today, and then in the future we're going to be generating more shows with more information about the Office of Community Engagement and Albemarle County Schools. But today we're very happy to have with us Diantha McKeel. She's a very special guest, and she's been on the school board for 16 years. So she has a wealth of information and knowledge that she's going to share with all of us, and we're very excited about that. Welcome, welcome, Diantha.
Thank you, Gloria. And I really am pleased. It's fun to be one of your very first guests. This is an exciting adventure.
Yeah.
And it will be a great program, I think, to have a discussion with the community as we go forward.
Yes.
And I do want to say that from my perspective at the school board level, the Office of Community Engagement is about relationships. Yes. Relationships with our citizens, relationships with our families and our students. And certainly that is one of the cornerstones of what we feel like makes for a wonderful school system and for our graduates to be ready to meet the world, is to have a great relation. So yeah, thank you.
That's true. Thank you so much. It's a great fun to have to work in this office. So having been the school board for so many years, I was wondering if you could just walk us through kind of like what do school boards do? It's like, what was the origin of school boards, and what is the intention behind the school board?
Okay. If you think about it from the big picture view, the state of Virginia established that school boards in the state would be the policy makers and that for school divisions, and that school divisions would operate under the auspices of a school board. So what's interesting, and a lot of people don't realize, is that the state by law also said that school board members would not run from under political parties. So all school board members run as independents, which is a little different way of thinking about elections.
Right.
Certainly you'll find that political parties may endorse candidates, but we all run as independents. And the idea is to try and take the politics out of education, which I believe is a really wonderful concept.
It's really interesting because I never really thought about that. I always think, they're elected, and we're so conditioned to think that elected officials are running with the parties or more political, but it's so nice to know that the school board is nonpartisan, and we're all just in it for the benefit of the community.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's really the idea behind it. So in Albemarle County, to bring it down a little bit more locally, Albemarle County has a school board that's made up of 7 members. We are elected by the constituents in our magisterial district. So let me just run through those.
Okay.
So Rio, Jack Jewett, Samuel Miller, Rivanna, and I'm going blank, Scottsville. And there's an at-large position who represents, the at-large position represents the whole county. So that's 6 magisterial districts and 7 school board members. Now, having said that, our schools are a mixture of different magisterial districts. So I represent Albemarle High School, which also has students from not only my district, which is Jack Jewett, but from Rio and some other magisterial districts as well. So you can't identify specific schools with only one magisterial district. We say they're not pure.
Oh, isn't that interesting? I would have
Yeah.
never thought that.
Yeah.
You know, I always considered like each school board has their own,
Yeah.
you know, school board member
Yeah.
has their own schools or something.
So every school in Albemarle County will have not only certainly the at-large member representing children in that school, but also have at least two magisterial, two school board representatives from different magisterial areas. So I represent the Jack Jewett District. So I have students at Albemarle High School and at Western Albemarle High School. I also have some students at Murray High School, depending on, because that high school, you know, is an application process.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
I'd also probably have some students at Murray. I have, I represent children at Agner Hurt, at Greer, at Meriwether Lewis, at Murray Elementary School. So you can start to see how broad the span can be. And I have students that I represent at Jack Jewett Middle School as well as at Henley.
Wow.
So,
I never
and I
knew
may
that.
have missed one. I'm not really sure, but anyway.
Yeah.
But
it's so broad. You know,
Yes.
when you think of it, you know, it's like, so how are you able to serve such a broad membership group or for your district?
Well, I think it's important that school board members not only represent the children of those in the schools that they represent, but we also represent the reality is all the children in the division, because all of our schools have to do a good job. So you really have to take sort of a big picture, but it is important, of course, that folks get out and vote in all of these elections,
Right.
because they want to make sure that their children are represented by people who really care for education
Right.
and think about education as being really important.
Yes, I agree with that, and I think it's important for adults to model the behavior we want the children to have.
Right,
So
right.
when adults vote and show their responsibilities, so
Right.
I think that, you know, the children. I'm always happy to go vote, and I see the parents with the children and the babies, you know,
Yeah.
lining up,
Yeah.
because I think that just causes such wonderful memories, and I think
Yeah.
that imprints the behavior I think that we want all community members
Yeah.
to have, so that everyone can have a voice, especially in the school system, because I feel like education is so personal.
Right.
You know?
So let's go back to the big picture. So
Okay.
the state of Virginia says in the Code of Virginia that the school board will represent to the fiscal representatives in the district the needs of the children in that division. So we raise our hand and pledge, and we take an oath that as school board members, we represent the needs of the children in our school division to the Board of Supervisors, because the Board of Supervisors are the folks that handle our fiscal or money.
The money, yeah.
Right. So we're charged with representing the needs of our constituents in the schools.
Right.
To this Board of Supervisors. So there's where you start to see the connection. So the school board comes up every year with a funding request
Right.
based on the needs that we see in our school division and in our schools.
Right.
And then the Board of Supervisors are in charge of determining between the school division and the police department and fire and rescue
Right.
and safety
How
and
they're
all
gonna-
of how they're going to divvy it up.
So it's also important to know who you're voting for in
At
the
the Board of
in the Board of
Supervisors.
Supervisors. So it's not just one election here, you know. So
Right.
it's all interconnected.
Right. But what some people don't realize, I think, until they really look into it, is that school boards have no fiscal autonomy. We don't have the control over the purse strings, other than we have a pot of money that we get from the Board of Supervisors.
So once you get that pot of money,
We can control that.
that's when you make the decisions of
with the
how
money.
that's going to be allocated to each school
Right.
or to each program that you
Right.
guys are initiating.
Right,
or-
but we don't have taxing authority. We don't, unlike some states, because people will move here and assume that we do, because there are states that have taxing authority for their school boards.
Oh, isn't that
We
interesting?
don't,
Yeah.
and whether that's a good or bad thing,
Right.
I really don't spend a lot of time thinking
Right,
about it.
right.
But, so the Board of Supervisors give us our proportion of the budget and then we make
interesting?
the decisions on how we spend that money.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that is very interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a big responsibility.
It is a big
You
responsibility.
know, and I think that our community needs to start valuing and maybe coming to meetings and being a little bit more involved in, you know, in what's going on, you know,
Right.
because I've been to several meetings and sometimes we have a large audience and sometimes we don't have a large audience. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that maybe the community involvement would be helpful to help support what you
Right.
guys are, you know, the decisions that you guys are making and supporting you. And I think that sometimes the presence of the community is very important.
Right, and as school board members, we try and get out into our community. And of course, I can only speak for myself, but
Right.
I try to attend some PTO meetings. I try to connect with parents at different, through Parent Council, which
Yeah.
is a representative group we have,
Right.
in other ways. But it's a lot of schools and a lot of
Yeah.
meetings, and
Yeah.
so,
So it
you know,
keeps
you
you
do
busy.
you do the best you can. And the reality is that most of the school board members have other jobs.
Right.
So this is not a full-time job.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And you are busy because
We
I've
are.
seen you in many schools,
Yeah.
in and out,
Yeah.
meetings all day and
Yeah.
night, and it's
Yeah.
a lot of work.
It is.
So we
It
need
is.
to really be more appreciative, I
Yeah.
think, of our school board members.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
I don't think anybody gets onto the school board if they don't have value education and really love
Yeah,
education.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
You know, you were talking about the parent council, and I know that the parent council is like one representative from each school.
That's
or
true.
One, like from the PTO groups, they choose, they're elected, or how does that go?
Well, Parent Council is different from PTOs.
Okay.
So each school has a PTO, parent-teacher organization,
Right.
that represents the parents that work together in that specific school with their principal and,
Right.
and their leadership. Out of the PTOs comes a representative to Parent
I
Council.
see.
So Parent Council is an advisory group, and it's actually an advisory group for our superintendent.
Oh.
She uses Parent Council as a way of connecting in our division with all of the schools, and that allows a flowing of information from the schools to the superintendent and administration, and from the administration and the
Back to
superintendent back to the schools. So each school has a Parent Council representative. They meet once a month, and they establish at the very beginning of the year their agenda, what they want to talk about. They bring in speakers, and so it's an educational
interesting.
process
Yeah.
from both sides.
It's very interesting. In my job in the Office of Community Engagement, I've worked with several schools in trying to get more parents
Yeah.
to be involved.
Yeah.
You know, it's like sometimes I go to the PTO meetings and there's like 3 people or 8 people.
Right.
So it's very underrepresented, I think. And I think that, you know, so if I can talk to the community, it's just like get involved in your schools and, you know, participate in the PTOs so that you know what's going on and be more involved in the educational process of your children. And I think that's one of the most important things that parents in the community can do to be more involved.
Right.
And it's an easy way to be involved. It's not
Right.
very complicated.
No.
You know, it's like you just appear at the meetings and see what's going on in the schools. I think that the principals are usually there and they'll tell the school board the PTOs like, this is what's going on, and so that's, you know, that's really important, I think.
Right, and parents can find that information out easily by going to our Albemarle County website.
Right.
And all you have to do, to be honest with you, is put in Albemarle County Public Schools and the website
Yeah,
pulls up.
and
It's
then
easy to
it's
find.
the first thing that comes up.
And there it says right there, calendar.
Yeah.
Or you can go to the side to the link for school board.
Right.
And pull up our meeting dates. You can pull up our agendas.
Right.
Our minutes under, so you know, and there's a wealth of
It's
information
so
on our.
easy,
Yeah.
and I think that our website is so comprehensive and it's so wonderful. I think it's a great resource. You know, whatever you want to know, that's what it's wonderful. I think that the design is really good and it's easy to use, and we're always trying to put the most valid information or the most important information on the
Right.
on the front. So it's very easy to do, and I think that we're also trying to do some parts of the website are now in Spanish. So that's, you know, again,
I've
reaching
noticed
another
that.
community. Is that
Yes.
great? Yeah.
Uh-huh. It
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think it's important to do that. So I think that one of the most telling examples of what we do in the Office of Community Engagement is the VIP Gold Card program. So here's a little VIP card. I don't know if you can see the little gold card, but it's like this is basically how we, the school system, give back to our community. So, Diantha, you've been a strong supporter of the Gold Card, and I thought maybe you could just tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I can't remember how many years ago it was that we established the Gold Card, but I'll be honest with you, we copied it from another school division.
good.
I went, I think, one year to a conference, if I can remember back. It's probably been 10 years maybe or so back. And another division was utilizing something very similar to this. And I came back and I said, we need to do this too. And I think from the school board perspective, certainly from mine, this is a way of recognizing the seniors in our community and thanking them for not only volunteering in our schools and being a part of our school community very often, but also for those folks who really write a check twice a year to the county, and part of their tax money goes to support our schools.
Right.
So it's a thank you. And should I talk about what it actually does?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. So if you're 62 years of age or older, as I am, you can apply for a Gold Card. And once you have the Gold Card and you're on in our database, you can use it to get into student events in our schools. Now, I recognize that a lot of our student events are free, but there are events that actually charge a fee to get in. For example, a lot of our athletic events and our drama productions very often have a fee attached. So the VIP Gold Card allows you to get into those events for free.
Yes.
It's a pass.
It's a pass. That's what it is.
Thank you pass.
Yeah. It's a great program. Not too long ago, I had somebody call me and ask me about the VIP card that she had found the application online, so she copied it and she sent it to us, and she was just wanting to know about the card, and I was telling her that she could use it for athletic or musical events, which she was very interested in that, and she was telling me that her granddaughter's now going to Albemarle and is a lacrosse player, so she's going to be at every lacrosse game, and it's just one of those things that makes it easier for our seniors to connect with our schools and to connect with their grandchildren, because again, we feel like grandparents are such a vital part of our community.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like sometimes we kind of forget how important they are, and there's so many different programs in the community, such as JABA, that's trying to bring the seniors into our schools to teach them, I think to read to the kids, with the FISH program is what they call it. But it's a wonderful program, and we're very happy that you went to the conference and they found I was like,
all those years ago. Now, and I will say, and I have to give JABA a plug, because JABA right now, Jefferson Area Board for the Aging, is partnering with us, and of course they partner with us in lots of ways through the FISH program, which is the Reading Volunteer Program. But they're partnering with us on this, so if you want a Gold Card, you can either drop by the JABA office over on Hillsdale Drive, I believe it is, where JABA is. You can go by there and they have the applications. Or you can go by the school.
Every school has one.
Every school has one in their office. Or you can go by the school administrative office down at the county office building and pick up one as well.
Or you can call the Office of Community Engagement, 293-0288, and call us, and we're happy to mail you one or make it available to you.
Absolutely.
Again, it's 293-0288. So, it's just one of the things that the Office of Community Engagement does. And, let's talk about something different now. It's like, I know that you're really interested in bringing international languages into our schools. And it's sometimes when we start looking at our community and how diverse it is, and I think we have like 140 languages represented in our schools, and so we have such a wealth of international energy in our schools, and so it's wonderful to see that you're interested in bringing a little bit more of international languages. So tell us a little bit about that.
I was just at Greer this morning, and I think in any given year at Greer, we have anywhere from 30 to 40 languages spoken, which is just really exciting.
It's amazing,
Agner Herd is very similar population. So in multiple schools, Woodbrook. And we really value that. One of the things that we've struggled with, I will say, in Albemarle County over the years is we know that children learn a world language the best when they're very young. And so what we have tried to do, or about 10 or 12 years ago, we tried to embed a world language, and we picked Spanish because that's probably the most spoken world language besides English in this community. And so we tried to embed it into our elementary schools. And at that time, what we could do was a program that was sort of a televised program that was backed up by the teachers. That program has now gone away because it's old and it's no longer really useful. But we're struggling to try and figure out how we're going to pay for, if you think about it, more of an embedded program that would be a seamless kindergarten through 12 world language program. And it costs money. Yeah, it does. And so we're at the board level, at the school board level, we're having that discussion on how might we be able to afford that. And how, so I encourage people to think about that as well, and to maybe contact your school board member if you have some thoughts about it.
That's wonderful, and again, that's another example of how difficult it is for you guys to sometimes make decisions. You know, you know that this is beneficial, and then you have to figure out how to manipulate the budget to make it fit, and it's a very difficult job.
Well, we have 26 schools.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can imagine.
And you want all the children to be equal. You know, it's like you can't, it's like, who do you give more to? Or, so it's.
Yeah, I do think it's important too for people to understand though that school board members set policy. We don't run the schools on a daily basis, and we shouldn't. We don't try and interfere in the everyday practices of what's going on in the schools. We hire and fire essentially one person, and that's the superintendent. And she serves at our, we set the goals and the big picture for where we want the school division to go, and then it's up to our superintendent to carry out those goals and that vision and make it happen.
Yeah, that's a very important job.
Yes,
I think.
it is. Yeah. And we have a wonderful superintendent.
We have a wonderful superintendent. I totally agree with you. I see her sometimes, and she does an amazing job.
Yes.
It's a very difficult job, I think, because there's so many issues, and I think she's doing a wonderful job. And again, it's important for people to realize that the school board hires the superintendent who follows the vision, so to speak, that the school board set. So when we see that that's the progress, or that's how the system works, it's important for you to go out and vote for the school board member that will voice your intention or what you would like to see our school system go towards. It's like that's the power of this country.
Because we're representing as school board members the voices of our community. So we need to hear from our community on what they believe is valuable, what they believe are what is important to them for the education of their children.
So a good way for the community to get in touch with the school board is through our website, and you'll see what you need to do is get on our website and then hit school division, and then you'll see school board, a link for school board members, and then you can email the whole board, or you can email the school board member that's from your division or from your district, and then give your opinions. And I think there you also have the list of the meetings times.
Yes, we have our agendas and our meeting times. And the other thing that's interesting, Gloria, is if people don't know what magisterial district they're in or who their school board member might be, there is a link on our website that you can go to that puts in where you live, and it will tell you who represents you. So that's my understanding.
So it's easy.
And you can always call our board clerk, because she can always help you too, or email her.
So it's really easy. It's like
we try to make it as easy as possible.
I know, so that's what we're trying to do. So now we're trying to get the community to be a little bit more involved and come to the meetings. There's some meetings that have like public comments, right?
We have public. We have 2 meetings a month. We meet the 2nd and the 4th Thursday of every month. The first meeting of the month is what we think of as our business meeting. So we take care of any business that might come up and things that we really have to do to move the paperwork and the division forward. There is public comment, and the public comment usually happens, it sort of depends on the agenda, but it's early in the meeting, usually anywhere from we start at 6:30, so it's usually between 6:30 and say 7 or 7:15, so it's early. You come and sign up to speak. The second meeting of the month is a work session. We have public comment during that meeting as well, but that's a much more relaxed meeting, and it usually centers around 1 or 2 topics. So it might be a work session on technology. It might be a work session on our funding request. It might be something about foreign and world languages.
Right.
So there are topics, and sometimes we may have a work session that actually spans 2 topics, but it's a much more in-depth meeting around agendas that we determine.
Well, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So are the public comments in alignment with that, or does it really matter?
No, you can come and speak to anything, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
but I think sometimes people don't take advantage of this country being so open to communication and to things that are dear to one, especially when we're talking about education. I think it's such a personal part of our lives. It's like it's like when the children get involved, start in the schools. It's like it's part of who you are, and so it's like we always encourage parents to get more involved in the schools and visit the school a little bit more. Remember to go to the teacher conferences.
Right.
I know that they strive to get more parents involved, and I know that there are some parents that are always involved, but those of you out there that are not so involved, we want you to come to the schools and make sure that you're talking to the teachers and communicating so that you know what's happening, where the child is moving towards.
Well, and something like the parent conferences, our teachers are really amenable to meeting folks at other times. If an advertised time doesn't work, they have night slots that are available as well as day slots. So it's all about communication.
Yeah, we have great teachers.
Right. And the parents really, if they have any questions, or for example, even if they're confused about when our meetings are, their principals are always happy to help them.
Right.
That's always the first line to go to.
So there's a lot of things that we need to start doing, and I think that getting involved in our schools is one of the most important things that we can do. So it looks like we're running a little bit out of time,
Good.
Diantha.
Well,
I am so happy that you're
much.
here. Thank you so much. You
it was
gave us
great.
such wonderful information. And again, the best way to contact the school board members is through our Albemarle County Public Schools website, and there you can find the school board members, the times of the meetings, of when you can go, and the procedure to make public comments, and make sure to show up to the meetings and show up to our schools, because we feel that that's a major step, and it's an easy step for you to be more involved in the educational process of your children. So I just want to thank you, Diantha.
Thank you. It was great.
And thank you everyone for this session, or this meeting of the School Talk. So thank you so much, and until the next time.